put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adanna Combie, and it is International Women's Day week, and we celebrate right here on Tobago Updates Television, where we speak to some women in all industries, well, various industries, as they find their place in those spaces, as well as making impact and talking about the challenges they've overcome. And before we start conversations, I want to say a special good morning to all of our followers. I mean, we love all of you, but this morning I want to pay special attention to some of our women who are always there for us, who always send love and special greetings to us. Miss Pearl Murray Beard, good morning to you. Always a loyal viewer. We want to say thank you this morning. We want to say good morning also to Lisel James. We want to say good morning to Cindy Ann London. Good morning to all of you who are viewing this morning. Julia Brown, good morning to all of you. Right, we're going to start our conversations this morning. I'll be starting to speak with Miss AnnMarie DeGazon, and she is a Youth Development Director in the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport. And we're speaking, of course, about things concerning International Women's Day. We want to know about your journey. We want to know about things that women go through and the things that you have faced and the challenges that you have overcome to find your space in wherever you are, whether it's at work, even at home, in society, because we know that women face a lot of challenges. Everybody faces challenges, but women in particular have to fight a little bit harder to make to take their space and their ownership in different industries or areas of society. So good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure being here, and I think on this occasion it's even more pleasurable.
That's
so
right.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Right. So the theme this year is actually Inspire Inclusion, and they're talking about supporting women in the workplace in different industries. So what is this theme? How do you internalize and express this theme? What does it mean to you?
Well, I think the first thing that came to mind is about what makes the woman. The professional woman does not just come out of thin air. You're birthed from a range of experiences that kind of prepares you along the way. And for me, I've had maybe so many, but the one that comes to mind is the powerful, strong women who have impacted my life at a very early age. And I think the timing of the impact is what made the difference. So for me, it started pretty early, outside, of the work that my mother did, because I think some things are just genes.
Right. Right.
So I come from a heritage of strong women, many of whom, ended up being single parents, either through the passing of their spouse or other life circumstances. And so that for me was genetic. But apart from that, I want to celebrate many women who have been in my life along the journey. So when we talk about investing in women, being part of making them and molding them into who they are, it takes a little bit more than just talk. So I want to celebrate maybe and call out one of the first women, Chenny Beard. And I don't know if many persons would remember, she used to work at Republic Bank, customer service manager. Chenny was a big part of my life. We did everything outside the home together. I want to also shout out Lenora Luke. Lenora Luke was a leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, in charge of the secretariat, I think, when I met her. And when I say they were a part of my life, it meant that, after school, I would go on their jobs and they show me the ropes. So that's where the early learning. So I learned a lot of my secretarial skills from Miss Lenora Luke.
Right.
I learned some of my customer service and the politeness. In fact, Chenny Beard took me to have my first Color Me Beautiful facial. So I learned very early that I must not wear white clothes to my face because it doesn't do me well. And I learned from Chenny that I could wear any crazy color and it looks good on me. So I learned how to put my colors together, what to wear, because I had a nice little sachet that I kept with me for many, many years until I lost it in moving around. But those were the things I took from them. And then when I got into school, I had some powerful teachers that impacted me as well. I want to shout out Miss Solomon. Many people know Miss Solomon
Yes.
now, right? So Miss Solomon, I was part of a youth group that she founded. She always would tell people I was the first secretary who served in Youth of Tobago. And then I was embellished within, the movement. I think the first person who got me introduced into the women's kind of movement would have been Angelita Becker.
Right.
So I worked along with family planning, went tailing along Angelita, every lecture she went to, things that we did together. And through my interactions with Angelita, I got into the women's movement kind of bit. So Hazel Brown, which a lot of persons know, impacted me. And I was able at some time to go off on a women's exchange program. And I remember Frederica Day. Persons in Trinidad may remember Freddie. But the things that I took away from that is that there were always along the path women who were able to encourage, that you were able to learn the experiences from, because like you said, it's not easy. And for many women who leave the boundaries of home as we know it and go into the world of work, you have to have a plan. You have to have some substance.
That's right.
To be able to help you to stay the course.
That's right. And you spoke about so many different women, and you spoke also about, some of the women in your life having to end up taking up roles, double roles, because they ended up being single parents.
Yes.
And, there are so many challenges that women have to face holistically. You have to be strong at home for your children. If you have a husband, you have to be strong for your husband. You have to be a support for your husband. In the workplace, you're expected to produce work. You have a circle of friends, and so you're supposed to be a good friend to your friends.
Yes.
You're supposed to be a mentor, so you're supposed to pour into the lives of the younger ones who are coming up. Maybe you might be of some religious background, and you have to have some sort of, so you have to be a pillar for so many people. And there are so many demands that come at you that you just have to. You can't decide, I'm taking a sick day today because somebody gonna say, well, mommy, or Miss DeGazon, we need this to be signed off, or we need your input on this, or we need this, or we need that, or we need the other. How do we become that superwoman for our own selves? Because we give that to everybody. And we need to be that for, how do we do that as women and stand the test of time to become as great as some of these women have become?
I think for me it was two things. Apart from the examples that I had, my own connection and my spiritual journey would have helped me along that way. So in my early years, I recall getting baptized at the age of 13, and I was the only member of my family at the time who took that step. And for me, that meant that it gave me a connectedness with God that took me through the tough times. It helped me to understand myself. And at that early age, I was making that decision, irregardless of who said otherwise. And that for me was the beginning of my journey. For a woman, for you to stand the truth, stand the challenges now, you have to be grounded. You have to be grounded in something. You have to know what your values are and take the time to think those through. I recall that my father, I didn't grow up with my father. In fact, it's one of the things I thank my mother for, because my father was very abusive. So my mother left the situation. And I think that saved my life. But what it taught me is that I can make a tough decision. And I can survive the tough times, because we did as a family. And so when you take the time off to think, and I want to say that to the young people, don't be too busy about all the time. Take some time to spend with yourself. Define what your values are. What are your goals? Not what people tell you to do. Understand what happened to you in your own journey and your own experience. And therein you will find many of the answers. So you're not going to be tossed to and fro, when life situations impact you.
That's right. And how do we implement these things in the workspace? Because I know you are the director And this is a top position. A position, when you hear positions like directors and CEOs, traditionally, you are thinking that somebody wearing trousers should have these positions, like a man should hold these positions. But now the workspace is opening up and women are stepping up. And I know that you have to fight even harder to prove yourself, because traditionally, as I said, the man is the head. He is the head.
Yes.
He is the head. But these spaces are now opening up and women are finding their places there. How was it for you in terms of your journey to get to where you are in your career?
Well, in terms of my own personal journey, I think it was much like most others. Yes, today it's about qualifying yourself, but apart from that, it's how you hone your skills and not being afraid to speak up and to assert yourself wherever you are. And when you spend your time, so it doesn't start there, it starts way before, you know, and don't worry about it. It's the simplest skills that get you there, you know. The things that we learn early: good manners, speak up, you know, be clear, be respectful, you know. Women must be seen and not heard. And for women in the workplace, especially at these levels, you have to be seen. Yes, you have to assert your authority. You have to be clear in your instructions and your direction and not be afraid to take your place. But I think, you know, things have changed up a bit. So for women in the workplace, especially at leadership levels, it's now a very popular thing in Tobago, in the Tobago space. So the challenges come sometimes from the men who are displaced from you being in those positions, who now use other things to try to distract you, you know, from what is naturally yours. So I'm saying that women in Tobago are no longer in the struggle or should be afraid to accept or step into leadership roles, because there's a lot of company up there. So many have charted the way before, so it's comfortable, but you will have to maintain. And so what maintains you there is your competence. And so you must seek to be competent. Women don't get there because you have friends. That's a male thing, you know. I'm afraid to say that. That was the man's world, you know. You get there, you had the men's club, and because you're, you know, do things together, yeah, you get the position. But when you see women in positions, it's because of their competence.
That's right. That's right. Because the fight really is harder for women. But I like what you said when you spoke about your foundation. We were kind of leaning towards your foundation. It's what you learned before. You didn't wake up this morning as a director, did you?
No, definitely not.
So there's a journey to get there. So it's your mentors, your life experiences, your life decisions, your investment in yourself in terms of getting your skills sharpened and to where it needs to be, to having a voice and using your voice effectively to get to where you are, to overcome the people who want to push you out of what is rightfully yours. So you see, it is a journey, and especially I'm joining with you and speaking here to the young people. There is room for all of us, but there is a journey to get there. We can't have things microwave. I know young people, they like the microwave, quick, and in a hurry, but that's not how it works. You have to chart your course.
And take your time.
Take your time.
There are some who come up, because right now it's very easy to get qualified in almost any field. You understand me? Some people go, they get their degree, some people fast track it, and some people just jump from, you know, high school, you do your first degree, you do your second degree, next thing you have a PhD, shoo, and you feel that you're ready. Hey, wake up. Things that really get you ready to take your place and to be able to fulfill that is a life experience.
It's experience. And I had that same conversation when I went to university. One of my colleagues, she came straight from secondary school into the university, and she was literally a child and could not find her way. So you really need to have those experiences, take your time and get there. There is time. Just plan it out. Map it out, take your time, get all the mentorship and all the advice from the persons who you look up to. You must find a mentor. You cannot do it on your own. While it is on the inside of you, you need somebody to help to bring it out. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Miss AnnMarie DeGazon, and she is the director, the Youth Development Director in the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, as we speak about women's issues and climbing the corporate ladder. We're going to take a short break before we continue continue conversations in studio with our guest. And of course, before we go, we want to say a good morning to all our women out there. And we want to invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. Stay with us.